all think cash is free, cash is convenient, cash is safe. Cash is none of those things, but we've got this perception that cash is free. It is incredibly inconvenient. 12.5 billion euros a year is what it costs the German economy. You've probably done studies in Nigeria. South Africa, it costs 23 billion rand a year to run cash. Somebody's paying for it, and I promise you, it's us, the consumers. This has been covered. McKinsey, 3.7 trillion boost to GDP, 95 million new jobs. This is globally. 1.6 billion newly included individuals, 4.2 trillion in new deposits, 110 billion reduction in government leakage, 2.1 trillion in new credit. Huge, huge opportunities at a macro level and a micro level if we get involved with it. Any successful person in this life, I'll tell you 2 key ingredients. Irrespective of their education, their skills, their sex, their anything, religion, whatever it might be. And it might be a businessman, it might be a film star, it might be a pop star, it might be an author, it might be whatever it is. 2 ingredients that are critical to success: passion and enthusiasm. You can have everything else, but if you don't have passion and you don't have enthusiasm, it's very unlikely you will succeed. If we're saying that the new wave is around digitalization, we could have people that understand technology running it, or you're going to have a huge problem. 76% of bankers that have been interviewed say that digitalization will not impact on the business model of their bank. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you again with tears in my eyes, if that is the perception, banks are not going to be relevant in 5 years' time. How do we build a cashless society? Take away choice. India did it. India's Prime Minister pulled nearly 90% of banknotes from circulation last year. The results have been mixed, but one thing for sure, the historic shake-up has boosted India's digital economy. It's about changing behavior. They've done it. Debit and credit cards as well as ATMs will become redundant, however, they believe in the next 3 to 4 years. People will use their mobile phones for financial transactions. The world is changing, and we need to keep up. Just have a look here. Accenture are saying we have to have a clear strategy to serve the mass market segment as a long-term commercially viable business. And I stress, it has to be commercially viable. Yes, we want to help the underprivileged. We want to help the financially excluded. And we can, but we've got to make a start. Simplify existing products. The products have to be appropriate. If you think your differential advantage is going to come from the technology that you use, I'm sorry to spoil your day. It's not going to happen. In 14 years of being in this business, I've never had anybody use as a barrier technology, as a reason for not accepting digital financial services. I believe one thing for sure. If I pay you some money into a digital bank account or a mobile money account, one thing I can promise you, you will learn how to get it out. So, what does Accenture say? Invest now or be left behind. The cost of playing catch up is just too high. It is very expensive to come second and to catch up. Get the product right. Please do not make the mistake, it's been spoken about this morning, of assuming that the products that work for the upper and middle income groups are going to be fantastic for the lower end of the market. In Ghana, what are they doing? They're saying the payment of fees and fines to government, only digital. Moving that way. Payment for public utilities, water and electricity, digital. Government has to have the, I'm trying to think of the polite word, the courage to say we will not accept cash as a payment. We will not disperse cash as pension, social grant, welfare, whatever it might be. We will only disperse it electronically. Payments in the retail space of the fast-moving goods. Financial services infrastructure. Have a look at Nigeria. 5.8, 11.4, and 13. This is ripe for digital financial services. Because what this slide is showing is that the less sophisticated the financial services infrastructure in terms of branch, ATM, and point of sale, the less sophisticated it is, the greater the chance that mobile and digital financial services has of making it. Does that make sense? And you can go through that list. Have a look at Kenya. It's the lowest of all. But it's done incredibly well with digital financial services. Have a look at Spain. Relatively speaking, very sophisticated. I'm not saying they don't have mobile financial services, but it's not as well known. Branches are dying. Retail banking channels. They reckon mobile 20 to 30 times per month, a branch 1 to 2 times a year. The world is changing, ladies and gentlemen, and it's changing very, very quickly. 6% of people trust mobile operators in terms of looking after their money. The opportunity for the banks is enormous if they'd flip and wake up. And again, I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, with tears in my eyes, are 700 people going to be ignored and bypassed, 700 people in Africa, because how do you participate in any of this stuff if your only means of transacting is cash? You can't. 72.9% of e-commerce is going to happen on mobile, not on this, on your phone. You need to have the right product and the right technology, and first to market makes a hell of a difference. So let me stop by saying there's a hell of an opportunity. But the opportunity is not going to fall out of the sky. First to the market will have a huge advantage. There is lots of things happening. And if you want to stay relevant, and you want to stay in business, and not end up like the post offices of the world, then you need to actually take cognizance of where we're going from a digital transformation point of view. In today's world, we all know, everybody's sitting there nodding their head and saying, Brian is actually talking sense. But why do the banks not understand that? Why do they not have a differentiated product in terms of the segments of the market that they seek to serve? The second question, it's related. Can a bank be all things to all people? Maybe related to that, should a bank be all things to all people? And maybe the regulators got it wrong here. That instead of taking out the stick and beating up the banks because they're ignoring that segment of the market, let's open the market up. And I ask, please, and I'm being contentious here, I know. How much money laundering and funding of terrorist activities is a 12-year-old kid that is getting pocket money of $50 a month going to do? Yet he can't have a bank account, eh? I don't know what the legal age for a bank account is in Nigeria. You tell me. Why? Why? I'm asking seriously, why? But, okay, don't ask the CBN. In Romania, they had a law, believe it or not, that you could not open a bank account unless you had a roof over your head. I asked the regulator why. They looked at me like I was from another planet. They said, nobody's ever asked us that question before. I said, well, maybe somebody ought to ask the question. Why? You've got heads of family in Africa, due to sicknesses and goodness knows what else, that are heads of family at 17 years old. And I'll prove that to you. Yet we cannot have a bank account. I mean, are we losing the plot, ladies and gentlemen? So you want to know why the youth are excluded? Those are some of the reasons.